Point since day one. How big was yesterday? What does it mean?
Yesterday was tremendous. We literally had people in all 50 states across the country stand up and say enough is enough. And when you look at the solutions that the Republican Party offer, it's the same nonsense they've been shilling on us for 30 years. Tax cuts for the rich. If we just give the rich all the money they want, then they'll finally feel secure and create jobs for us. On the other hand, they're busting unions, making it harder for us to put food on our families' tables, denying us health care. 40,000 people in America die every single year because of lack of health care. Preventable diseases. It makes me laugh that the guys who literally fought to give corporations the right to freedom of speech want to deny Americans the right to protest in a public place. You know, I think Sarah Palin needs a full-time day job. She apparently has nothing else to talk about. It's not startling to me. These guys are paid to say what they say. They take large campaign donations, and I'm not surprised that they do the bank's dirty work.
What do you make of Peter King, you know, in his depiction of the 99 percenters that are out protesting? I mean, he said some pretty degrading and vile stuff. Your response?
Well, he's done some degrading and vile stuff. The man basically lied us into the war in Iraq, and he's been yet to be held accountable for that. That created tremendous deficits, which are now being used as an excuse to destroy every program the Republican Party's voted against for the last 80 years.
And what do you make of the unions now saying that they're going to organize, they're going to go occupy Washington? You in on that?
My father was a union carpenter. I absolutely stand with unions.
So there really is no one group that's really taken over this group, because there's a lot of conversation early on about what are the 99 percenters. They don't have a real focus. I want you to respond to that.
To me, I think our message is so obvious that you really have to be willfully ignorant to ignore it. The majority of working class people are hurting right now. Our out-of-touch bribe politicians are selling this agenda that only benefits the wealthiest 1%. How can we cut their taxes? How can we deregulate in their favor? Oh, but you need something, Mr. Working Class Guy? Well, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to face some cuts. The Republicans only operate on one playbook, and that's whatever Bank of America or BP or David Koch or whoever else is financing their campaigns wants them to talk about.
You know, a lot of the demands that are surfacing, and I said this on the air the other night, parallel that of the Democratic National Convention in 2008. Now, whether that's what you intended or not, I don't know. But, I mean, we're talking, you know, the wealthy paying more, obviously fair taxation. We're talking about universal health care, supporting public education. How do you see all this?
Well, I mean, when I wrote that last night, I was really expressing my own opinions. At the same time, I'm happy that so many people share those values. Because to me, that's the values that we're talking about. Protecting our families, rebuilding our communities, investing in America. At the same time, it's frustrating that I find that I'm kind of more Democratic than some Democrats are. That, you know, if we're going to go to Congress and pressure Congress, we should not just ignore the Democrats there. Ben Nelson, Senator Ben Nelson, Senator Max Baucus, a bunch of these worthless blue dogs who really don't represent anybody else but the special interests. We should occupy their offices too, because they're certainly not helping right now.
O'Reilly says it's dead. He says it's a good thing. Your response?
So was Dr. George Tiller, unfortunately. I think Bill O'Reilly's hurt enough people with his words, and I think that it just shows how out of touch he is to think that this populist uprising all across America, well, if the Republicans can't own it, I guess they have to destroy it. That's their modus operandi.
Now, I have been to Portland, I've been to Minneapolis, been to Madison, been to Toledo, and been to Columbus. And I've been to Newton, Iowa, in the middle of the country, all within the last 60 days, all of those places I've been. And I have asked people in every single city, does this movement, what they're doing on Wall Street, do you relate to them? And emphatically, the people say yes. What's that mean? What's that mean to you?
It means that Occupy Wall Street represents a broad cross-section of America from all walks of life, students seeking higher education, people who are professional, who are still paying off their student loans, right down the line.
You think you had anything to do with the Senate Bill 5 going down in Ohio?
Oh, certainly. I would definitely say so. We've activated so many people for the first time who have never engaged in politics or anything of that manner. It's very viral.
Well, what do you say to those people that say you're a bunch of anarchists out there?
I would suggest that they stop watching propaganda distributed by Rupert Murdoch's international crime syndicate.
Well, that's a pretty good answer. Right to it. And of course, the recall of Governor Walker, which we're going to talk more about in just a few moments. You think that this movement is going to also, have an effect on his recall?
It absolutely should. You know, I got to visit Madison myself a week or two ago. I've got some friends out there. And in my opinion, I think we should be putting pressure on all of the politicians who benefit only the wealthiest 1% to the detriment of everybody else in America. So Governor Scott Walker, Governor Rick Scott, right down the line. Not just Republicans either. Some Democrats need to be, put on the unemployment line as well.
Well, you can throw Snyder's name in there, too, from Michigan. He's pretty
absolutely.
radical as well.
What they're doing is they're repealing the 20th century. And I keep telling people, I'm not against capitalism. I'm against crime. For these guys to talk about we're the party of personal responsibility, and yet when you ask them what they've done wrong in the last 10 years, they have nothing to answer for. They're very hypocritical, and I think they're doing a disservice to their countrymen.
Jesse Lagreca, thanks for joining us tonight. Let's do it again.